Hello everybody. Should I say good afternoon? What's the time now? It's 20 minutes past 1 on what is today? It's a Friday. That's right. It's Friday. I should know it's Friday. 20 past 1 on a Friday. And I'm actually standing on top of my building. There comes the sun. Give me a second. Okay. Weather's playing a bit of havoc because we've got typhoons coming in. There was one last night. There's another one tonight. Anyway, I'd like you to take a look at this view from the top of my building. That side over there is Hong Kong New Territories. This river is the border. And over here we have Shenzhen. That is facing down towards the west, and that will take you down to Shekou and so on. It's down there. Anyway, there's a reason why I'm actually making this video. I got a very interesting question, I think it was this morning, by one of the subscribers whose name is Mix Me a Drink. Anyway, he asked me, what does it really feel like to be a foreigner living in China? Now this is actually something which is very difficult to explain, so I'm going to try my best. And please understand that I realize it's a very different experience for me compared to most other foreigners who live in China well, probably for one very big reason, and that is I come from, as some of you might know, I come from South Africa. Although I have British parents, I was born in South Africa, and so I am a South African citizen. Not by choice. It's just a hand that fate dealt me. And having grown up in South Africa, I've always been a minority. As I'm sure most of you know, about 80 to 90% of the population in South Africa is black. And then there's a small population, well, portion of the population which are white and Indian and colored and so forth. And of the white population, I could quite safely say at least half, if not the majority, are Afrikaans-speaking white people, which are from Dutch descent. Not the same as me. We don't have the same how could you say, we don't have the same language, we don't have the same background, and we don't have the same things in common. Okay, although of course I do have a lot of Afrikaans friends. So I'm a minority within a minority, and so coming to China and suddenly being a minority hasn't really changed much, other than the fact that over here I really do feel that the Chinese people are a lot more friendly. I can get along with them more. I've got a lot more in common with them than I do with, let's just say, black people and Afrikaans people. So for me, that big culture shock, which hits a lot of foreigners coming here, the part where suddenly they're the minority and they're, oh my word, look, everywhere I look, there are different people, like, you know, there's no one like me. And I've seen it happen. I've seen people who've come here and stayed a week run back home because they can't handle that. That doesn't even play a part, as far as I'm concerned. However, of course, being a foreigner here is, well, it's quite an experience. And there are an infinite amount of different things I could tell you about. But of course, I don't have the time for that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try and explain to you a little bit about China so you can get the idea. All right. Now, as you can see down below me, that's the village. Now, quite often I film myself down in that village. It was in that village somewhere down there that I bought 808's Baijiu. It's in that village somewhere down there that I often sit down and I have a drink. Okay? Right next to the village is my building. Now, that's a different building to mine. Mine is the one I'm standing on now, obviously. But it's part of this big building complex, and it's actually very nice, very lavish, very clean, very modern. Okay, and I will be doing a video. Some people have been asking, you know, what does it look like inside my apartment? That's coming. Anyway, I'm just trying to show you there's a big contrast here. Everywhere you go, you have very poor living conditions, very cheap housing. You can get an apartment in there for about between 800 and 1,000 RMB a month. Whereas my apartment, for instance, my apartment costs 3,800 RMB a month, which is still very cheap compared to Western standards. You see this all over. You see it just over the way. There's Futiancun. That's where that Lingdu Kao Bar, or that 0 degree barbecue bar is. Next to it again, you see there are some tall and expensive buildings to live in all the way, everywhere you look, it's like that. So there's always a big contrast. There's always rich and poor together, money and no money together. However, what makes China different from every other country that I've ever visited or ever been in is the fact that even though people are rich and people are poor, they don't have a chip on their shoulder. You don't pass a poor person on the road who glares at you with this sort of screw you because you're rich and I'm poor kind of attitude, or you're more privileged than me so you owe me, that kind of attitude, which is probably one of the biggest things I like about China. Sure, you'll see someone there obviously very poor, they've got very crappy clothes and they're sitting around and all their possessions in the world are with them. However, they're happy, and you know what? I can give them money if I feel like it. I can drink a beer with them if I feel like it. I see them as just pretty much being happy and on the same level as I am as far as living is concerned. And the thing about China is that it doesn't matter how poor you are or how underprivileged you are. The cost of living is so low that even if you only earn peanuts, you can still, every night if you want, go out, sit down, have a beer, have a chat, have some fun with your friends. I mean, and I'm being totally honest, it doesn't matter how poor you are, you can still afford to do this. So, I'd say that the level of contentment, the general level of contentment in China is very high. And it's for this reason that I feel very comfortable and very safe in China, as I'm sure many people who live here do. Simply because it doesn't matter what you're doing or where you are, you can just relax, and you can relax with the locals. And by default, and I'm being totally honest here, I've been living in China for now 4.5 years, since 2006 in March, and in general I'd say people are very friendly. You will have no problems, and they respect foreigners and they look up to foreigners in a lot of ways, which for me is a bit of a problem because although I must admit it's good to enjoy the attention, I do see a lot of foreigners taking advantage of this fact, which leaves me with a bit of a sick feeling in my stomach. Anyway, that's something I'll explain in a later video. So listen, mix me a drink. If I have to sum up the answer to your question, what does it really feel like to be a foreigner living in China? I'd say it feels great. It feels awesome. It's brilliant. China's a fantastic place to live, and it's nothing like the West envisages it. Okay, forget it. It's nothing like the West thinks it is, alright? To be quite honest, and I'm sure you'll see through my videos, especially in the future, China is definitely the place to be in the world right now. That's it for now. Signing off.